2. A hard look at ancient Mexico. Now look at ancient Iraq. These people were separated by 8,000 miles of deadly ocean. They never spoke, they never met. But they share a secret that breaks the timeline. Look closely at the hands of their gods. In Mexico, the giant statues are holding a small, square bag. Now look at ancient Iraq. The gods, they're holding the exact same thing. It gets even crazier. Go back to the oldest temple on earth, Göbekli Tepe. On the stone pillars, you see it again. 3 handbags carved in a perfect row. Experts say it is just a basket for carrying water. But that feels wrong. Why would the most powerful gods in history walk around with a simple picnic basket? 2. It is like digging up an ancient Viking and finding him wearing a modern digital watch. It is not a mistake. It is a logo. This proves these cultures were connected. They were all copying the same teachers. So, what is actually inside the bag? Is it a machine? Is it a battery? Or is it a badge from a lost civilization? Today, we are going to open the bag and find the truth. Subscribe now if you want to know what history is hiding. This starts in ancient Iraq. When you look at the stone carvings of their gods, you see something strange. These guys are giants. They look powerful. But in their hands, they are gripping this heavy, square bag. It looks just like a modern purse. Historians tell us this is just a bucket for water. Sure, that might be true, but here's the problem. I want you to imagine traveling 8,000 miles away. We are crossing the ocean to Mexico. The people there never met the people in Iraq. They didn't have big boats. They didn't have maps. But look at their statues. They show a man sitting inside a snake. And what is he holding? It is the exact same bag. The handle is curved the same way. The shape is the same. He holds it tight, just like the guys in Iraq. This creates a huge headache for history books. If you and I live on opposite sides of the world, what are the odds we both draw the exact same picture? It is almost 0. Think about it. When we make statues of heroes today, we give them a sword or a flag. We give them things that show power. You don't carve a god holding a grocery bag, unless that bag is important. If the guys in Iraq and Mexico both love this bag, it means they didn't invent it. Someone brought it to them. Now, let's make this even weirder. It isn't just about distance, it is about time. There, the statues in Mexico and Iraq are old, but they are not that old. They were built maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. But let's go back to Göbekli Tepe. This site is 12,000 years old. That is twice as old as the pyramids. Guess what we find on the famous vulture pillar? You see the same bags. 3 of them. They are carved in a perfect row at the very top of the stone. This changes everything. It means the symbol didn't just pop up in different places. It survived for thousands of years. Think about how hard that is. Most stories disappear after a few generations. But this image survived the Ice Age. Survived the end of the world. It implies that whoever built Göbekli Tepe passed this knowledge down. It wasn't just a fashion trend. It was a legacy. The people in Iraq and Mexico didn't just dream up this bag. They were remembering something. They were keeping a specific memory alive from a time before history began. So, if everyone was trying to remember this bag, what was inside it? Was it just seeds for farming, or was it the tools to restart civilization? Let's look at who is actually holding these bags. In the ancient stories, these weren't just normal people. They were called the 7 sages. The legends say they came out of the ocean to teach humans how to live. They taught us math, science, and how to build cities. They were the first teachers. This gives us a big clue about the bag. Think about a doctor today. When a doctor visits your house, he brings a medical bag. He needs the tools inside to do his job. Or think about a technician. He brings a toolbox. Without the box, he can't fix anything. Maybe the stone bag is the same thing. It wasn't a fashion statement. It was a kit. It held the tools they needed to jumpstart civilization. This explains why they are gripping it so tight. 2. It was the most valuable thing they owned. If they lost the bag, they lost the knowledge. This makes sense when you look at the timeline. These carvings appear right after the last ice age. The world had just been destroyed. Humans were struggling to survive. Then these figures show up with their special bags. Nest, and suddenly we start building massive temples and farming the land. It feels like a rescue mission. Let's look at this with modern eyes. If you showed an iPhone to someone from the Middle Ages, they wouldn't call it a phone. They would call it a magic mirror. They would describe it in words they understand. Now, imagine an ancient person seeing a piece of high-tech gear. Maybe it was a battery. Maybe it was a portable computer or a breathing device. 2. A simple farmer. It just looks like a square box with a handle. So, that is what they carved. We have seen this happen before. In World War II, American soldiers landed on remote islands in the Pacific. The islanders had never seen technology. They saw soldiers speaking into radios. When the soldiers left, the islanders built wooden copies of the radios. They hoped the magic would come back if they held the wooden boxes. We call this a cargo cult. Maybe the handbag is the same thing. Maybe the humans in Mexico and Iraq didn't actually have the technology. Maybe they were just carving statues of the teachers holding their gear. They were copying the shape, but they didn't know what the machine actually did. Wait, they just knew that the guys holding the bags had the power of gods. It explains why the shape never changes. You don't change the design of a machine you don't understand. You copy it perfectly, hoping it still works. So, where did the teachers go? They traveled the world. They carried the same kit. They taught the same lessons. But then they vanished. All we have left are the stone statues. It feels like we are living in the ruins of a much bigger world. We are like children who found our parents' old tools in the attic. We see the shapes, but we don't know how to turn them on. The handbag is the ultimate clue. Proofs that human history wasn't a lonely struggle. We had help. We had guides. And for some reason, they wanted us to remember that specific box.